Welcome to On the Inside, episode 4, brought to you by Gatorade. We've got Paddy in studio today and Lachie on video. Paddy, good to be back on the winners list, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's nice, Tommy. Thanks for having me back on, mate. Obviously had a week off. It was good. As you guys know, winning makes things a lot more enjoyable. So it was a tough game. We always play close games against the D. So it was just good to get the win. We had a pretty inexperienced side in, so some of those young guys stood up, and it was good for them. Like, they were buzzing after the game to see them sort of get that smile. It sort of takes your mind back to when you were young and you played your first game or your first win. So it was good to see those boys enjoy the win.
What about the incident in your game as well, Paddy, with May and Evans, which was unfortunate? Looked like a pretty big hit, and you would have been close to it on ground. What was your take on that incident?
Yeah, it'd be good to get both your boys' view on it. It's a hard one. Like it was obviously a big hit. If I know what the media grab will be, but I sort of took on to talk in hypotheticals here. I reckon it's such a tough situation for both players because, like, when the ball's in dispute, like, you guys can sort of elaborate more on this, but like as a young guy or a young kid coming in, you always talk like body line the ball, and when the ball's in dispute, like, you want to go and win the ball. And I felt like if you take Carlton versus Melbourne out of it, I felt like both of them were trying to contest the ball. And then obviously you never want to see a player get injured. Obviously Frankie was courageous what he did. You never want to see a player get injured, but I just reckon it's so tough. Like, I don't understand what we want May to do there. Like, if that's a grand final and he hesitates and let's say Frankie gets the ball,
that's probably a headline, isn't it?
Yeah, what do you do? Like, so, I never want to see that people go off in the game with head knocks, but I just think it's a really tough situation. There's obviously going to be a lot of speculation around it, but I don't know how you guys sort of saw the incident.
Yeah, well, his arms were down, as we were talking about off air. I guess if you tuck up into that bump position, that's where you're probably in a little bit of trouble, but it is such a tough one. These decisions happen in a split second. Like, I'm not sure if you saw that bump as well and you had any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm similar to Paddy. Like, growing up, you're taught to win the ball first. Like, I'm always trying to win the ball first rather than tackle or bump or whatever. But sometimes if you're a split second late or whatever, your body just reacts in a way that you're trying to protect yourself. And a lot of times that is looking like a bump motion. So it can look worse than what it is, especially when you slow everything down so much now as well. And it's a tough one. But yeah, unfortunately with concussion, a huge topic now, it puts it under the microscope even more now.
It definitely does. What about your game, Locke? It was a while ago now, but Thursday night up in Brizzy. Talk to us about that win. McCluggage, 200th game. He's obviously having a huge season, but talk to us about getting another win up in Brizzy.
Yeah, Friday night we played the Dogs. It was a ripper, pretty good game. Felt like we played some of our best footy for the year. We couldn't quite put them away, and the Dogs are a very good team and stuck with us for the majority of the game. We couldn't quite break it open and missed a fair few shots, but Huey, absolute Rolls Royce. Glad that we could get the win for him. He's a superstar of the comp now. He's sort of been thereabouts for 5 or 6 years, but this year I think he's really elevated his game and become a real top liner, and his work inside, which he's put so much time and effort and craft minutes into. It's sort of starting to show now. He's one of our best clearance players. He's so clean now. And then we know what he can do on the outside. So, yeah, great to get the win for him. It was also Greg Swan's last game at the club. So we got him in the middle of the Gatorade shower and got him drenched, which was good fun. You're not very often you get to do that to your CEO. So wish him all the best. And then Danny Daly as well, another guy at the club. He's our GM. It was his 250th. So there was a few milestones to celebrate, and good that we could get it done on the big stage against a good team.
Before I throw to you, Tommy, like with McCluggage, like I was doing the numbers there, so I reckon he averages about 24 to 25 games a year based on how many years he's been in the system. Like, that's crazy, eh? Like, has he ever been injured?
Nah, I think we were trying to figure it out the other day, asking him. I think he's the third quickest ever to 200. I think he's had like a tiny calf, maybe a rolled ankle or something. He's missed like 4 or 5 maybe. And plus we had that COVID year as well where you miss out on like 5 games. We played finals, so I think we played 2 finals. So he would have only played 19 games that year. So yeah, pretty crazy to get there that quick. And he's just such a professional as well. He's a real leader in that space of the club with his his preparation and recovery stuff. He drags all the boys along as well. So it's no wonder we have the culture that we do at the club with guys like him. So he's a ripper, and very lucky to have him.
Yeah, it's a massive effort. And Tommy, the rest of the old legs, mate. How did you see the game yesterday? It was obviously a close one.
Yeah, had a rest this week, but looking forward to the Tigers this week. But the G was electric yesterday. 1 point victory to Freo. Credit to them. They played the moments late in the game really well to win the game. I thought we, Collingwood, probably controlled majority of the game, especially the third quarter. We had a stack more inside 50s and one contested ball and all these stats. But sometimes, as you guys would know, when you don't always have to win all these key metrics to actually win the game. I think historically, Collingwood, we've had games, I think even against Carlton Cripper, where you guys have touched us up in a lot of key stats, but you don't get the result. So efficiency is a really important thing around that. And yeah, Freo played the late moments really well. Patrick Voss had a super game, kicking 6, a huge pickup for them. So
I noticed like late in game, one thing that you guys were doing, like when you guys go to tackle, you actually sit off the guy. Is that something you guys train?
Yeah, it's something we speak about. I don't think we're the very, very first team that's ever used that tactic. I think other teams have definitely used it, but I saw the play you were talking about. I think Steele Sidebottom had a really smart play and a couple of other senior guys. So there's one thing knowing what to do, and then there's another thing remembering under fatigue when the game's been going for 120 minutes. And I thought, yeah, some really smart passages of play. But there were some other really cool moments throughout the week, throughout the weekend of footy as well, boys. I'm not sure if you saw Maurice Rioli's chase down tackle. I reckon one of the best tackles I've ever seen live in a footy game. And it triggered a question. What's the best moment you've seen live on field in game that you've been a part of?
You go, Real Deal. I reckon you got a good one.
Yeah, I'll take it away. It's not really a moment, but probably a whole match. I felt like a spectator out there, but against Adelaide, I think it was 2015 maybe, or I'm not sure the year, but Fife first Dangerfield matchup at Adelaide Oval. People that watched footy back then would remember it. It was wet, and then these two contested balls just going at it all night. I was playing in the midfield and literally just felt like I was watching them two play off. It was incredible. I think they both had close to 40 touches, 20-odd contested, and they both just dominated the game, and everyone else was just support acts around it. So seeing those two in full flight, at a packed Adelaide Oval, and yeah, I think we just got the win, so it was a pretty incredible game to be a part of. And I remember just like being there live, obviously playing, just feeling like I'm just watching two of the best to ever do it go at it. So it was pretty cool.
What you tell me you got?
I've got one moment that sticks out. It was 2017, and I only played a handful of games with Cyril Rioli, but I was playing with Cyril for the Hawks. I reckon it was around 2017 against West Coast at the G. I still remember it. It was on the far wing to where the bench is. And I remember I was at a front and centre for a long down the line contest and expecting the ball to fall in my lap. And I just remember seeing Cyril fly, and he was hovering. It felt like he was hovering in the air for 3 seconds. And he just had that ability to leap, but also it was like he defied gravity. He was just hovering up there. I was just like, I've never seen anyone do anything like that. So he took the mark. It was a specky that I don't think he's played on a heap of highlights packages, but for me, being a metre away from it, it was pretty special.
Yeah, I reckon it's hard when you play. I reckon like there's not many things after a game I reckon you remember. I reckon you get so locked in and focused, but like big marks, like goals from the boundary, or if someone like dominates, usually stands out. Like can't really remember too many off the top of my head, but like Charlie kicked 10. I think
just singing all of yours, mate. You dominated that.
Always 3-vote games.
Bit of self promotion on the app. Nah, it's I reckon Charlie kicked 10 in 2023 against the Eagles. I actually wasn't playing that game, but I was in the coach's box, and like when he kicked his 10th, like just seeing the whole stadium sort of erupt, that was pretty cool. So there's not too many times you're at a ground where someone kicks 10. So that was a cool moment.
Very cool. Boys, we're going to move towards a segment for Gatorade. As we know, a huge sponsor of ours for On The Inside, and we really appreciate their support. So got some points here I want to read to you guys because it's a really cool campaign, the Fueling Tomorrow campaign that we're very fortunate to be a part of. So yeah, what people out there probably don't know is that Gatorade have recently launched a Fuel Tomorrow program, which is part of their mission to unlock life-changing power of sport. Their research is providing valuable insights into the connection between teenagers and sports participation, and is actually quite alarming in many ways, with the research suggesting Around 30,000 teens in Australia are dropping out of sport every year. To help make a positive change, Gatorade commissioned the experts of La Trobe University to study what drives teens' confidence in team sports. Working with teenagers, they have identified ways to help keep them involved. The info is available as a summary online and outlines 10 principles we can all take on board. Head to gatorade.com.au to find out more. But boys, I wanted to ask you a question, and Cripps, I might start with you. Looking back to when you were a teenager, what kept you engaged and motivated to stick with sport?
Yeah, I reckon the big one, I've had to think about this over the weekend. And I get asked, I reckon the most common question I get asked from young kids or teenagers, whether at clinics or, just when you bump into them, is like, what do I have to do to make it to the AFL? I reckon the most important thing growing up is play as many sports as you can. Like, I reckon it's underrated. I reckon you hear a lot of people talk about, they try and lock into one sport when they're 12 or 13. I reckon we lose sight of the fact that playing a lot of sports is so important. Like, I remember growing up, I played golf and footy in the winter, then cricket, basketball and tennis in the summer. And I just reckon it's like, one, it's good for your hand-eye coordination playing a lot of sports, but what's underrated is just the social connection of actually playing sport. Like, you're getting outside with your mates, you're part of a team, you're exercising, which is like, good for the endorphins. All these things are so good for you. And I reckon even for us as we get older, like, obviously we play, professionally now, but I still come back to that enjoyment of actually just playing footy like all the time, because that's what I grew up loving to do. And one thing I do miss though playing footy is not being able to play other sports. That's like, I can't wait.
It's in the contract.
Yeah, I can't wait to the day I retire and play a bit of social basketball and throw up a few bricks. But they're probably the three things I think it's really important. I don't know what you boys think on that.
You go, Locke.
Yeah, well, growing up in the country, I was the same, Crip. I played so many sports and it just kept me out of the house and away from screen time and whatnot. So I think that's massive. And then with the social part of it, I think that when you're a teenager, you can you start to figure out your friendship groups and what that looks like. So for me, I was always pretty conscious about who I hung around with at that time of my life, really, and making sure I was on the right path. My parents were really great role models and took me in around a lot of people, good people, and choosing the right friendship group as well at that age is pretty important because you can go down some bad paths. And I was lucky enough to have a really good friendship group growing up, my early years at high school and sort of year 5 to year 9 before I moved to Adelaide when I was in the country. And I'm still very close with a lot of those guys, probably 6 or 7 guys that I went to primary school with in Narracourt I'm still really close with. So I think that helped me certainly be more active outdoors, playing sport, doing those things rather than getting caught up in some other stuff that you can at that age. And I'm pretty lucky that I had a great friendship group at that age, and that helped me heaps, I reckon. Tommy?
Yeah, similar to you guys, I think you've touched on the key points. Like, just always love the idea of staying fit, healthy, getting a good sweat up has always felt really good. But similar to you guys, some of my best memories ever in sport have actually been around that age of being a teenager. I still laugh with mates today around, funny things that might have happened in a game, or at my junior club, Ashburton Junior Footy Club, we used to do club nights on a Sunday night where the whole club would get together as like a social function. The kids would run around on the oval, the parents might be inside having a pie or whatever, and we still talk about those nights today and how fun they were. And then obviously on the weekend, it was always great to be a part of a team, and it didn't always matter getting the result. It was more, as you mentioned, being a part of a team. And I think ultimately sport is about people and connection, and that's what being a human is all about, staying connected and feeling connected. So yeah, obviously, we want to keep kids in sport, and it's just such an amazing thing, not only for what it can do for your health, but also that connection element. But Paddy, we spoke about before as well, who are some key people that can actually help kids stay in sport, teenagers?
I can, Lachie touched on it before, but the role of his parents. Like, I think parents play such an important role. Obviously, coaches as well, but I think parents, you're there to provide support. Like, we're all lucky. Like, I played 5 different sports. Like I said, like, my parents basically gave up so much of their time to, transport me around, especially in the country. You got to travel a fair way to play sport. But I think parents play such an important role in just encouraging their kids to play sport, but also not critiquing everything they do. I think that's really important. Like, I feel like a lot of kids can sometimes feel the pressure to, play at a high level where like the whole essence of playing sport really is just to enjoy it and have fun and play. And I've listened to some great podcasts over the journey about some mentors that I really look up to. Ben Crow's one, and he talks about parents. It's like when you get in the car post game, like don't critique the game. Like just say, I just love watching you play. Like it's actually an important message. But like, you know, obviously me and Lachie have kids now, and Tommy, you probably got one on the way soon. But it's something being a parent like down the track that I'm really conscious of is just letting them enjoy and follow their passion and just love watching them play. I think it's pretty important. But I know, Tommy, you were talking about coaches and the power of what coaches do for like motivation and enjoyment.
I think coaches are the exact same as parents. I think coaching with a tone that is encouraging and rewarding, and I think not punishing mistakes and things like that. I know everyone, even at the younger ages, gets quite competitive, but I think having that undertone of being very encouraging and rewarding the good things you see, I think naturally building people up is going to make them want to stay involved and stay a part of it. I know at the elite level, sometimes things can get intense, but for teenagers, I think it's so important just to keep encouraging and building people up, regardless of if they're the best player, not the best player. Sport isn't about that. But what about you, Locke?
Yeah, similar to you guys, but then I think family, friends, like their parents and stuff that you're around a lot growing up, they can have a massive influence as well. Like I still remember, and a couple of them ended up being like my under 14s coaches and whatnot, but before that, they were still very encouraging, very supportive the whole time. So there's not only your parents and your coaches, but there's so many people around your life and in my life when I was growing up that were so supportive of me and very encouraging. I think Cripps is right on the money. If you don't want to be, if all you want to do as a kid is feel good about what you're doing. So if you're getting critiqued too much, you feel horrible, and you still get that a little bit when you're our age and playing footy. So you can only imagine when you're 10 to 14 if you're getting sort of not bad words, but getting critiqued about your performance flat out, then the effect that it could have and the motivation levels drop. So it's just everyone around you. I was very lucky to have very supportive people and coaches and family. So I think it's a big network that can lift a kid up from the whole holistic point of view. So all those points are valid.
It sounds like we're pretty aligned with the Gatorade Fuel Tomorrow program. And one thing I'm keen to see if we are aligned on as well with game prep, guys, because we do like at Ball Magnets to share our tips of the trade and how we like to prepare. I'm interested to ask you guys, what's the very first thing you do when you arrive at the game for an AFL game?
First thing I do is either, depends on the weather, but I'll either jump in the ice bath or have a cold shower. I just do that to wake me up. Because you play a lot of night games, I feel like you sit around all day and just a bit of cold water just wakes my nervous system up and makes me alert. And then I'll go and get a massage and get taped. So they're the first things I do. But I like to get there about 2.5 to 2 hours 45 before the game. I like to really build into the game. I like it how it's really calm at the start. I'll go out into the ground, post that, and then I love when you go out to the stadium, it's just no one there, and then you build into the atmosphere. So there are a few things I like to do before I really get into my mental prep about 45 minutes out from the game.
That's LeBron James areas, 2 hours 45. We've got a couple of boys that get there very early, but do you sometimes feel mentally burnt out if you get there too early, or you're just so used to that routine? Because I've tried getting there, it'd be interesting to ask Locke, but I find if I'm there 2.5 hours early or more than that by the time the game comes, I'm a bit zonked.
Well, I think it depends on your personality. Like I don't overthink the game now, so like I get there, I like just build into it, get my body moving, and then I feel like the last 45 minutes is like my time where like I basically like switch from like being relaxed to like I'm locked in, like knowing my sort of game plan, how I've got to get my arousal up to a certain level. And I'm, everyone's different, but I like when I play, I've got to get to a level where I'm like I'm ready to like go. Like where like someone like Sam Doherty, for example, like he doesn't go near me in a warm up because like he likes being calm and just chilling out. So we ever do a tackling drill, like he looks at me and just goes, "Mate, get away from me." So
I'm the same as you. I like to feel a bit of body, but there's certain guys who don't want to be touched. Yeah. So there's like two parts of the group that go their separate ways.
Yeah. What about yourself? Do you have any routines? Or?
The first thing I do when I get to the game is get taped, and then I probably use that first part of my routine is to get a massage and use my visualization on the table. When I hit the massage table, that's normally when I like to do my visualization of picturing the ground I'm going to be playing on, and then using visualization both from my point of view and seeing the game in front of me, and then a bird's eye point of view and watching it all unfold. So I like to cover off both. But how about you, Locke? Because you're very detailed with your pre-game prep too.
Yeah, mine's pretty detailed now. It's I guess it is a superstition, I suppose. They're all superstitions, but it's my routine. But yeah, I'm the opposite to Cripper. I try and get there as late as possible. So the latest that we're allowed to arrive is an hour 50. So I try and get there like an hour 52 before the game. Depending on traffic and whatnot, yeah, I'm sometimes there a little bit early. And if I'm actually a bit too early, I'll like sit in the car park and finish a couple of songs that I want to listen to before I go in. So I like getting there a bit later, walk in. I spend probably the first 5 or 10 minutes being social and getting around the boys, talking to them, not about footy, just about anything but footy, basically. And then once I've done my rounds there socially, I'll head outside, and then that's when I start to lock in. So about hour and a half before the game, I reckon. And then that's when I do my meditation on field. I go walk a lap of the circle in the middle of the ground at every ground that we play at, and then do a bit of meditation, and then in that same space when I'm on the field, do a bit of a stretch, and then basically do a little bit of gratitude work as well. Just speak to myself about how lucky I am to be playing footy, and how excited I am for the opportunity to get out there again. And yeah, I'd spend sort of 5 minutes doing that, and then head inside and start my prep like you guys with strapping and massage, and we have a meeting. I think it's about an hour before we play, and then we're into warm up and away we go. So yeah, it's good that we all have a little bit of a different way to go about it, but the results are usually pretty good. On the weekend, actually, we couldn't do it though because of the lightning, so I couldn't go out on the ground. So I had to do it inside, so it was a little bit different for me.
Yeah, it does throw a spanner in the works for sure when things like that happen. And as you know, Locke, even grand final day throws your routine out of whack because there's pre-game entertainment and your routine gets out of whack. So I think one thing that's important as well is just being adaptable when things do come up. But boys, that's all we've got time for again today. Thank you to Gatorade for sponsoring On the Inside. We really appreciate their support, and hopefully the audience, you guys appreciated some of the insights today. Looking forward to the next 4 episodes to come. Thanks again, boys.
Good, fellas.
Cheers.